The The success of a culture or the importance of a culture is weighed primarily by its artwork, whether it be architecture, painting, the films, etc. Like, these are all documentations of a culture.
Have you heard the saying that people go through 3 career changes in their lifetime? You've heard that saying? Well, I wonder, and I think with my practice, I really wonder if I will ever go through that, because I imagine that my pursuit in fine arts will always carry me throughout whatever career I'm in. So I think that's kind of a perk of being an artist, is that if at least if I have this passion that I've been pursuing for this long, I don't imagine I'll go through the standard 3 career changes that the normal person goes through. Like, I think I'll always be in the arts in some capacity. I think the arts is very important to the community. It's something that the community can share and have in common with each other. Like, if you have arts throughout your environment, office building, whatever, it's something that everyone can take pleasure in. And how flattering is it to that artist to know that someone wants your piece of work on their wall for the next 10, 20 years because your art makes them feel good? I think that's pretty amazing. I mean, critical feedback is essential for growth, but it's not always pleasant. Sometimes it can be hard to hear these things, but at the same time, you're in an environment where you're not the only one that's going to hear that, so you know it's okay. Even though it's going to sting at that time, you know that it's only going to make your work better or make your process a little bit more intense. You might think about it a little bit more critically, which is important. But it's actually an up-close detail of birch bark. So it's like, it goes this way, right? So that is like an up-close shot of the tree. Cool. So it's like, you know, it's kind of abstract, but yet it's a real picture of something. You know what I mean? So I'm just kind of playing with that line between abstraction and not abstraction. Trying to find something new. Sometimes it can just be that one thing that sets you off and you have an amazing line of work that comes out of that one inspiration. And sometimes that's all you need, like just that one thing, and you'll create a body of work from a discussion that you had with a prof, or, you know, another art show that you went and saw with a friend. It's all about those little things that influence your work. Yeah. I'm sure a lot of people have had you know, rougher journeys than I had, but I can't complain. Throughout high school and whatnot, I've never had a problem with being the kid that enjoys the arts. If anything, people were kind of impressed with things that we were doing and, you know, things that we were producing. People were interested in that stuff. So I don't mind always, you know, thinking about it, always looking for inspirations, that kind of thing. I don't mind that. What I do mind is not having the time to like actually pursue those things. Sometimes I find myself a little bit lost, and then boom, something happens and all my work just kind of happens, comes out, so.
I was really lucky in that my parents were really supportive of what I did. I was always a different kid. I wanted to study insects and collect data on various creepy crawly things. And I'm kind of glad that that was overturned with the art, because it was definitely, I was a much more creative person. Oh, definitely. That's the most crucial thing. Before you do any digital painting, you have to learn the fundamentals of painting traditionally. In a lot of ways, the two disciplines cross each other quite a bit. Like, all the methods that I use for my brush strokes and the energy and fluidity and the rendering that I do, I definitely learned from via painting traditionally. And in a lot of ways, painting traditionally can be a lot easier because the brushes are easy to manipulate to create different textures, whereas in Photoshop you have to switch between different brushes and it's a huge ordeal. Digitally is RBG, so you change the sliders accordingly, and yeah, but it comes over to traditional medium quite nicely too. So. my instructor mentioned that I was the first student in the painting major that they've ever seen that had been doing this, and a lot of my instructors don't exactly know what to say with my artwork because they're not familiar with the tools I'm using. And so in a way, that exchange back and forth has been quite beneficial because they're able to teach me what I need to know from them, and then I'm able to teach them these kind of new tools that are breaking into the industry. At first, like, my work was really rudimentary, like, it was bad. But after the years, like, when you've been doing it for so long, you kind of learn the tips and tricks from other people because you post them online and you get input from online communities. Often these communities house professionals who've been doing this for years and years and years and years. And as somebody who's 14, 15, this is invaluable. This is amazing. Like, back a couple years ago, this would have never happened, right? So in a way, I did get a lot of instruction from online communities on how to use the software, but I've never really had specialized classes on it or anything like that. Like, I hate to use the term self-taught, but relatively. In elementary school, early elementary school especially, I was always kind of teased and stuff like that. And it continued as I went through grade school. It waned in high school because I was able to kind of harness and own the fact that I was quite different from what people would consider normal, right? Or at least average. Normal is not a real construct.
Well, no, to be fair, sometimes when I'm out with, now when I tell people what I do, sometimes I get oh, well, what are you going to do? And that is kind of a troubling question because, yeah, you know what, I don't know what I'm going to do. I have an idea of what I want to do, and I certainly have a path that I'm geared up to go down, but you just have to be ready for things that might come your way.